This is a strange pairing, isn't it? I mean, if I'm going to pick the Mega Drive, I should pit it against the SNES, or the NES against the Master System, but that is not what this video is about. If you were to compare them, the Master System has a Zilog Z80 CPU running at 4MHz, 8KB of RAM, a 4-channel mono audio chip, 16KB of video RAM displaying 256x192 resolution with up to 32 colours from a palette of 64. Whilst the Mega Drive has a Motorola 68000 CPU at 7.6MHz, a Z80 sub-processor, 72KB of RAM, a 6-channel FM stereo sound chip, 64KB of video RAM displaying 320x224 with up to 64 colours from a palette of 512, and blast processing, of course. Okay, so blast processing was a made-up marketing phrase used in North America to keep punters away from Nintendo's SNES, but still, clearly the Mega Drive trumps the Master System in technical stakes. If you were to compare the looks, then the Master System 1 looks a bit like a boxy rectangle, the Master System 2 looks like a toy, and the Mega Drive just looks like a pure unleashed beast. Especially when paired with the Mega CD1. It's the pinnacle of console design. God, just look at that beauty. So, another win to the Mega Drive. Incidentally, the Mega Drive 2 also looks like a toy, but that's irrelevant, no one cares about that. So, no, this is not about the hardware per se. This video is about the games, the gameplay, the similarities and the programming skill. And yes, before you say it, Mega Drive games will undoubtedly be better on the whole. But let me give you some backstory. For Christmas 1991 I received a Sega Master System. Look, I even recorded it in this school project. I loved that little system, but at the same time the Mega Drive was out, and it was getting all the attention. But being the owner of the 8-bit underdog, I massively rooted for that system. I used to flick through Mean Machine Sega with pure excitement whenever they had a Master System feature as opposed to the blasted Mega Drive. For every new game which arrived, I held out absolute hope that there would be a Master System version, and when there was, boy did I compare that to the 16-bit version. I think on most occasions I managed to convince myself that the Master System version was just as good, if not better, than the Mega Drive variant. So after fending off the NES owners, I used to argue with my Mega Drive owning friends and come up with reason upon reason why the Master System could still compete. Now, to a 10-year-old this makes perfect sense, but in the cold daylight of 2015 and after subsequent ownership of a Mega Drive and many machines in between, do I still think that those Master System games can cut it with their Mega Drive counterpart? Well, that's what I intend to find out. So, Altered Beast, the original Mega Drive pack-in title. Well done Sega for changing that to Sonic. It's a reasonable effort at an arcade port, it's just a shame that the game isn't that good to start with. I actually prefer the aesthetics of the Master System, there's just something about its simplicity and the variation in the main character which appeals to me. It might be a little jerky, lack 2-player mode and only have 4 levels instead of 5, but it's a Master System. Gameplay wise, it's about the same as its little brother, and I say little because the Mega Drive was born after the Master System. World Cup Italian 90! This is probably the first game I ever played on a Mega Drive. It was my cousin's machine, and with it he received the pack-in triple pack Mega Games 1. I could have picked Super Hang-On or Columns from this pack, but World Cup Italian 90 was just so damn disliked I couldn't resist it. The thing is, I actually really like this game. I'm not sure if it's because it was the first game I played on this amazing architecture, or whether I truly appreciated the dire gameplay, but regardless, I did enjoy it. The Master System version is gobshite. In truth, so was the Mega Drive version, and they look about the same. Alien Storm. The Mega Drive version is a wonderful side-scroller. Great variety, great graphics, fun to play. It's not as close to the arcade version as the Master System, which is actually another wonderful side-scroller with great variety, great graphics, and is equally as fun to play. Plus, it's more authentic. Road Rash. On the Mega Drive, Road Rash is a gaming delight. It's fast-paced, energetic, has great scrolling, frame rate and graphics. It's all there. The Master System version is pretty darn good in its own right. It looks almost as good as the Mega Drive. It's fast, the frame rate is a bit lower, but that's expected. Gameplay is there, the energy is there, and if you gave this to someone years after they last played the Mega Drive version, they'd probably think it was the 16-bit variant. Street Fighter 2 Championship Edition was an absolute blast on the Mega Drive. It was fun and the 2-player mode made it a must-have. If you were lucky enough to have 2 6-button pads, then you were well away. All the characters from the arcade are present and the graphics are pretty much spot on. The Master System game came late in the system's life, and in fact is a South American only tech toy release. Despite the people who base their verdicts purely on comparisons with superior hardware, it's a damn good conversion. It lacks 2-player, which is a massive shame. It also lacks some of the characters, such as Dalsim, who are probably beyond the 8-bit hardware. Also, having 2 buttons is somewhat limiting, but it's still immensely playable, and it looks beautiful for the system. Bonanza Brothers! I remember playing this game on my friend's Mega Drive on 2-player mode and falling in love with its simple but effective gameplay. The pseudo 3D graphics popped out of the screen in their colourful glory and I was hooked. I remember seeing the Master System version and in all fairness at the time I couldn't see much difference. The Master System again lacked 2-player mode, but did hold up in the gameplay and graphics stakes. Let's take a gander. You'll notice that the game is now full screen rather than the standard split screen present on the arcade release and all other ports, but that makes it a lot nicer to play solo. It probably would have been better had they made it 2-player, I mean after all it works on the Spectrum and Commodore 64, but graphically and gameplay wise 1-player is splendid. Ayrton Senna's Super Monaco Grand Prix 2, another Mega Drive classic. There were plenty of driving games on the 16-bit system, even Formula 1 driving games, but this was just a great experience. Rear view mirrors, fast, smooth action and responsive controls. It was a speed sensation all round. The Master System, straight away you'll notice that we're in third-person view rather than in the cockpit, and now this does take realism away from the game, and that was a crucial element for me in the 90s. I wanted racing realism in my bedroom, but still it works and it's responsive and it's playable. Like most of these games, the one thing that makes a clear difference is the sound. If we superimpose the Mega Drive's music and SFX over the Master System, it transforms it. If you were lucky enough to own a Sega Mark III, which is Japan's version of the Master System, it came with an inbuilt FM sound chip, and so that must have felt much closer to the 16-bit experience when compared to our Western systems. Robocop vs Terminator. Now there's a title that I had dreamt of for many years before it came out. Now I consider this game even quite a latecomer in the Mega Drive's life, but for it to come out on the Master System as well was an absolute mind blower to me. The Mega Drive version scrolls smoothly, it had a bucket load of on-screen sprites and the backgrounds are visually detailed. There's also a heap load of gore, which is actually for the most part retained on the 8-bit system. Given that this system was now aimed at the younger player, this is immense to see. The graphics are mind-blowing for a Master System and hold up well with the 16-bit counterpart. The only noticeable difference really is the fluidity from the Mega Drive version, but they're both immensely playable. Sonic the Hedgehog! Here's the game which defined the Mega Drive and really Sega as well. This little blue fella quickly became Sega's mascot with his absolutely rapid action, his unique spin attack and his varied enemies, all balanced with a beautiful difficulty level, probably a bit easy in all fairness. The Master System version was a different kettle of fish. Coming after the Mega Drive version, it was a completely different game, designed to cater to the Master System's hardware. It had a slower pace, which goes in the face of its main selling point. There were no loops and it generally required more thought. But actually it was pretty darn good. The graphics lacked a massive amount of detail compared to its 16-bit brother, but that really didn't matter because it captured the fast platforming action of a Mega Drive version, and even at a slightly slower pace, it worked well. Pit Fighter! Here, the classic arcade fighter was brought to home systems, and on the whole wasn't received well. The Mega Drive version is actually a pretty good attempt at capturing the arcade magic, including the digitised sprites and backgrounds, but lacking the zooming action which the arcade cabinet was famous for. Now, I remember seeing the Master System version in Computer and Video Games magazine and thinking, yeah, that looks pretty good, not much different to the Mega Drive or the arcade. Good God, what happened? This isn't even the same game, is it? Where are the sprites? Oh yeah, I can see them. Why are they so frickin' small? Where's the background? Where is the gameplay? This is clearly a game which my 10-year-old mind twisted to fit my mental needs. I even tried supporting this game in the face of my friends, praising it and arguing how good the graphics were compared to the arcade. What the hell was I thinking? Fantasy Zone. Ah, you're thinking that this is the Mega Drive version, right?
Wrong.
This is an early Master System game, but one which it did very well, looking colourful as hell and featuring awesome gameplay. So the Mega Drive version, it's colourful, it's playable, but for some reason I yearn for the Master System's crispness. Mortal Kombat. I loved Mortal Kombat. I loved it more than Street Fighter 2. I still do. For many, the second game is far superior, but I love the original just for its originality, for its first step into the world of gore, and for its sheer brass gloatedness. The 16-bit variant captures the arcade nicely. It doesn't have quite the same splatter of gore, and it required a secret code, but it will do nicely. The Master System also has gore if you enter a code, although it lacks some of the finishing moves, including the spiked pit, and it lacks the number of buttons to make a fighting game truly playable, but god damn it, it's another good conversion. I got hooked while trying this version out, even if it does only have 2 background locations. Okay, let's finish with Streets of Rage 2, a legendary Mega Drive game designed to compete with Final Fight, which had been released on Nintendo's Super Console, and it did admirably. Many would say even beat it, pun intended. Great gameplay, frantic 2-player action, and a perfect difficulty curve. Over in the 8-bit corner, things are a little bit smaller, namely the sprites. The gameplay is also a lot less satisfying. It might be the simpler, quieter sound effects which do it, or it might be the unpolished nature of the experience, but this is one game which, although isn't terrible, it doesn't hold up in the gameplay stakes to its 16-bit counterpart. Now, it's obvious that there's a lot of Mega Drive games which never made it to the Master System. This is especially true of North American releases, where the Master System was nowhere near as popular as Europe. It's also true of releases which came after the Master System was deemed done for. However, it's also worth noting that there were various Master System releases which never made it to the Mega Drive. This includes Sonic Chaos, which was an awesome Sonic release, and probably a bit of an apology for the lackluster Master System release of Sonic 2. There's also Master of Darkness and Wonder Boy 3 The Dragon's Trap, which is arguably one of the best games on any Sega system. So Master System owners didn't have it all bad, even when the 16-bit machines were hot on the block. So there we go. All in all, the 8-bit Master System doesn't hold up too bad. For a system from the mid-80s, I think it performs remarkably well compared to what is essentially a 90s 16-bit behemoth. Some of my memories and younger arguments may have been twisted, but isn't that what being a 10 is all about? Arguing your corner, loving what you own, whilst having a general disdain for others. This is where life skills are learnt, where personalities are sculpted. I'm pretty darn sure that these arguments help to form a massive part of my character, and I, for one, am not sorry about that one bit. I'm sure when the Super Nintendo was out, NES owners felt the same emotions, so I'm glad that I received a Master System for Christmas '91 instead of a Mega Drive, because frankly, most people I know who had a Mega Drive from day one are dicks. They were dicks then, and they'll remain dicks for the rest of their lives. Hail the underdog! Thank you for watching my views on the Sega Master System versus the Mega Drive. I do a number of videos each week, including this quick play on Mortal Kombat, similar videos to this, such as this Sega Revision Saga, and system reviews, such as this one on the Sega SG-1000. Feel free to click one, or subscribe, or even contribute to my Patreon channel. In any case, thank you very much for watching, and good night.